So if you're a man trying to explain to your woman what you mean when you say you want peace, or if you're a woman trying to understand what your man is saying, this video is for you. Now, almost universally, almost 100% of the time, when you ask a man what he wants from a woman, what he wants from a relationship, he wants peace. Just bring me peace. But what exactly does that mean? And I'm going to give you a perfect example in my eyes in this video. Now, a lot of times women will think, well, that just means you just want somebody to be submissive and listen to you all the time. And that means the man is going to have peace. No, those things are nice, but that's not what brings peace. Other women just think it means the man wants sex all the time, or he wants you to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen making him a sandwich, and that's going to bring him peace. Again, those things are nice, but that's not what brings us peace. What brings us peace is being able to comfortably be ourselves. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. Now, me personally, I have what I like to call permanently irritated voice. I didn't really realize it until I started my hockey channel 10 years ago. And I started matching up how I sounded versus what I was actually thinking and feeling when I was speaking. And I realized that, okay, that might be the way, that might be the reason why some people react to me a certain way, because I will sound irritated and aggravated when I am definitely, most definitely not. So I became aware of that. Now I have an ex-wife that I was married for 24 years. I have an ex-girlfriend I lived with her for 6 years, and I have my current girlfriend. And I'm going to lay out the three reactions to one specific incident that would have happened, and that will illustrate peace. Now, I'm aware of this way that I talk, so I will make it known that, hey, if I sound a certain way, I don't mean it that way. I'm not trying to be aggravated or not frustrated. If you think I am, just ask me, because 99% of the time, it's just how I talk. I'm Italian. I've got Russian in my blood. It's just how I speak. Now, I'll give you the example of what this actually did happen, this specific example I'm going to give you, and then I'm going to tell you how each relationship would have reacted and how my new girlfriend reacted. So Leia, our dog, sleeps with us in the bed. Generally speaking, I'll get up about an hour to an hour and a half before my girlfriend gets up. There's no hard, set, fast rule on who takes her out to go potty in the morning. A lot of times she likes to get completely under the covers and snuggle up next to my girlfriend long after I've been out of the bed, and they will get up, and sometimes she'll let her out to go pee. Sometimes I will. So there's not even a pattern or a habit that we have. So this one particular time, it got to be probably about 8:30 in the morning, and I said, I walked into the room after I must have got another cup of coffee, and I said, did you let Leia out? She just looked at me. She's like, no. And I said, well, where the hell is she? Now, that's where I'm going to stop the story. Now, what I said was, well, where the hell is she? And I know how I sound. I sounded irritated, aggravated, frustrated, almost like maybe I was blaming her for why I couldn't find the dog. Now, this is the difference, women, especially if you're watching this. This is what a man means when he says he wants peace. My ex-wife would have handled it like a normal conversation at the time and held on to it in the back of her mind. And at a later date in an argument, she would have brought up the time I got angry at her because she didn't take the dog out for a walk. And I would say, what? What time? And she would have brought up the time I said, well, where the hell is she? All the while she knows that's just how I talk. That's how I speak. I'm not frustrated. I'm not aggravated. I'm not blaming her for anything. But she chose to interpret it that way and would choose to bring it up later. That's the ex-wife. The ex-girlfriend, on the other hand, would have immediately gotten defensive and said, why are you getting mad at me? It's not my job. We don't have a routine. There's no set, blah, blah. She would have immediately gotten aggravated mad at me, and it probably would have ruined, if not the entire day, most of the day, until I apologized for sounding the way she already knows I sound, and the way that I've already acknowledged that sometimes this is just how I sound. That's not peace either. I'll give you the example of what peace is. When this episode did happen with my current girlfriend, and I said, well, where the hell is she then? She laughed, and she got up and she pulled the sheet over and it disclosed the dog and said, she's right here in the bed, you big dummy, because we both like Sanford and Son, and we both laughed about it. We covered the dog back up and we went about our business. Everybody was happy. Nobody took the situation on purpose so that she could manipulate me later into making me believe that she thought I was really genuinely angry about it. We didn't have any aggravation about it. It turned into a laugh. Why? Because she's intellectually honest enough and has enough self-awareness to know she knows how I talk. She knows how I talk. She knows how I sound. Sometimes I'm going to sound irritated and aggravated when I'm really not irritated and aggravated. And she wants peace too. And to her, the lack of aggravation, lack of drama, that brings her peace. Now, this is the thing where men and women will differ a lot, because a lot of times, almost universally, men want that peace. A lot of times women don't want that peace. Okay. My ex-girlfriend that I lived with quite literally told me that in her previous relationship, she would get bored and she would yell at her ex-husband on purpose on things that she knew he really hadn't done, or things that she was not really angry about. She would yell at him and raise her voice on purpose just to get a reaction out of him so that she could have some kind of emotional connection. Like she was just bored. The actual peace that a relationship should bring, that was too boring for her. Now you see this a lot, guys, and what I can tell you is, in this type of circumstance, whatever you get in the beginning of the relationship, that's what it's going to remain. Okay. And I saw the signs. I saw the signs really, really early with my ex-girlfriend. I did not listen. Okay. There was an episode where we were cracking jokes back and forth, and I was like, all right, well then bye, and she immediately flipped on me and said, oh, you can't use that word with me, because I had a guy years ago that used that word with me, and it actually meant he was breaking up with me, and she had trauma based on this one word. And the reality was is that she was just choosing to take it that way to control my behavior. And that is the key. That is the key reason why women will not bring you peace, is they are wanting the control. They feel a certain, women a lot of times will fear, I don't want to use the word inferior, but a lot of times women will feel the need to be rebellious against their fathers, against their husbands, because it makes them feel like they have a little bit more control. And to some extent, you don't want a woman that's just going to be, oh yes, all the time, right? That would be boring, right? We don't exactly want a challenge, but you don't want somebody who's just going to say yes to everything no matter what you say. That's not really healthy for anybody. But when this example happened, it smacked me right in the face, because in all of my previous relationships, there's only two, but in my previous relationships and in my male friends that I've known all my years, women will take advantage of that situation. If if you slip up like I kind of did, and I was like, well, where the hell is she? Now, I was not even directing that at at my girlfriend. I was more directing the confusion. The confusion in my voice was more directed at myself. Like, where the hell are my keys? Like, I can't, it was the same type of thing. But since I am with a good woman now who wants peace and doesn't want that aggravation and the argument, she did not decide to purposefully take it a certain way like the previous two relationships did. So That's what peace means to men, women. If you're a guy and your woman doesn't really know what you mean when you're saying, I just want you to bring peace, just tell her this story, show her this video. What we want is the ability to say, hey, these are my pros, these are my cons. I'm going to do these good things. And sometimes I might slip up and do this. And what men want, and what I think most people would want, but what men want specifically is, hey, don't rake me over the coals for a flaw or a personality trait that I've already told you about and you've already accepted, and say that's okay. That won't bother me. Because that is something you'll get a lot, is you might explain to a woman, hey, this is how I sound. I might sound like I'm irritated. I don't mean that. And then when you sound irritated, they will either purposefully forget that you told them that, or what they will do is they will use their own discernment. Be like, well, it really sounded like you meant it this time. It's like, that's the point of me telling you I'm not going to mean it when I sound that way. But what they may also do in that episode, like I said, is they'll, depending on basically their mood, they may say, well, today I'm going to decide that if you sound irritated, you must really be irritated, even though you told me at the beginning of the day, oh, well, maybe I'm not irritated. It's not how it sounds. If you meet a woman that does that, if she gives you that peace in the beginning, it's likely to stay that way, men, as long as you are able to recognize how you are, how you act, how you react to certain things, and be open and honest about it at the beginning of the relationship. The flip side to that is, if she starts off overreacting, no amount of words that you use is going to get her to stop almost all the time. You might find the one needle in a haystack that's willing to do the self improvement work. Just for a woman that might say, well, okay, I can try to think about that and try not to take it a certain way, but that's a rare one. Usually, if you present your personality flaw and she's going to purposefully overreact, that's only going to get worse over time. So don't say I didn't warn you. I made the mistake twice, and that was the most important thing for me in my new relationship. Was I'm 54 years old. This what how I sound? How this is it? This is what you're getting. You take or to leave it. You don't want it? That's fine. But I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna be trying to change how I sound at 54 years old. Just find somebody that accepts you, genuinely accepts you the way you are. Not the words, okay? Not the words, I accept, that's fine. Well, you could work on that. Don't get tricked, okay? You are how you are. If it's something that you're comfortable with, that's just how I talk. I've talked that way my entire life, right? I'm fine with it. I'd rather just be with somebody that understands that's how I sound, and that's all there is to it. So don't let a woman tell you that once you've done that work on yourself, then she won't take it personally. No, no, no. That's a bottomless pit, and it's a lie. Because you could do the work on yourself, but she's just going to move that goalpost and move that goalpost and move the goalpost to the point where you're basically in your house like a prisoner, and any words that you do say or use, they'll just eventually get used against you.